Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
He's alive!
Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode was with Mr. Brandon Kroll. You can find him on YouTube at Man a Daily Podcast. Dude has some interesting shit to talk about. I'll tell you that. He does a lot of research, extensive research into occult and symbolism. So today on the podcast, man, we get into the possibility of Trump being the Antichrist and or a time traveler. I don't know. It, put it in a scale. Heck, you know. So keep an open mind. Uh, listen if you're into conspiracies and stuff. So for all my paranormal people that are here for paranormal stories, this is not one of those episodes. So I apologize. Next week we'll be getting into that shit again, but today is a standalone conspiracy episode. So if you're here for the paranormal stories and the cryptid stories, today is a conspiracy one. So we listen to Brandon's research and stuff and what he has connected to Trump, the possibility of Trump being the Antichrist. Um, so it was a lot of fun conversating with him. He's super nice. If you have any further questions, I'm sure he won't deny you, or you know what I mean. I'm sure if you reach out to him and have further questions after listening to today's episode, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer. So but yeah, so the sponsor of the show is Flavors of the Forest. If you are into garlic, man, this is the shit. I'll show you for the people that are on YouTube. This is Bigfoot's Breath raw garlic dust. Get yourself some. They got ginger, lion's mane, and spicy garlic. So I highly recommend it. I put it on everything, and when I say everything, I mean everything. I put it on my scrambled eggs. I put it on my steaks, and I'm sure you know this by now if you've been listening for a while. But yeah, go check them out. Their link is is on the website as well, but I always put it in the show notes. It's flavorsforest.com/weird. Go get yourself a bottle or two or five or 100. They are fantastic people, Nelson and Matt both. They're phenomenal guys. I really enjoy getting the chance to talk to them when I do. And they put out a fantastic product. This is super potent, way better than anything that you're going to get at the fucking store. I promise. I put the weirdos only guarantee on that shit. So, also, and you can follow them on Instagram, Flavors Forest. So, again, to get yourself some garlic, flavorsforest.com/weird. Flavorsforest.com/weird. So and then I also have hot sauce. I got blueberry heat, I got down the rabbit hole, I got green apple sizzle, and I got hot lemon squeeze. And the strawberry murder juice should be hitting the website shortly, waiting on the labels currently. So don't fret and don't be upset, but it shall arrive very soon. Um, I just attended Cryptid Fest this past weekend. It was a lot of fun, man. Jessica put on a good event, and she's already has her eyesight on 2025, and I'm down to participate in that. It was awesome, man. I showed up. The event didn't start until 1, and there were people there waiting to come in long before that. So man, it was good. It was busy. There wasn't too many vendors. It wasn't like a shit ton of people, and it was good. It was good. The speakers were great. I was one of them. I had a good time. Told them, talked about some of the main cryptids, um, some of my stories, my personal stories, and yeah, I had a good time. I got to see, I got to see Phil from Exploring with Phil. Dude's amazing. He came by. He watched me speak and stuff, and it's always nice to see him. He's, lived probably like 15 minutes away from where we were at, so he wanted to come check it out, and I'm glad he did because it's always nice to see people. Michael Thompson, another guy, man. I see this guy at almost every event that I've gone to thus far, and he's amazing. He was also a speaker. He did a phenomenal job speaking. I really enjoyed watching his speech. The cool thing is that there was speakers that got to speak in the hall where the vendors were. The only problem was is that some people didn't really understand that there was a speaker up on the fucking stage and wouldn't, at least simmer down a little bit, but, eventually they did. Yeah, so Michael Thompson, got to see him. My son got one of his Chicken Boy books, which he was super excited about. Um, got to see Jess, obviously. She was running the event. Cryptids Cryptid Bits with General Tidbits. That's her show on YouTube, so go check that out. Amazing person, man. I can't say enough. Jess, if you happen to listen to this, I don't know if you do or watch, but I really appreciate you putting this event on. It was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. My kids had a good time. It was a lot of fun. My son freaking when I went out to speak, my son sold hot sauce by himself, which I was super impressed with. So it was pretty great. It was pretty great. Um, I met Carrie from Previously Possessed. I met her in person. She's an awesome person. I love I mean, I love getting the chance to talk to her every time we've ever conversed, and um, I didn't. She was she showed up at my table, and I kind of like looked at her. I was like, I fucking know who that is. I know who that is, but I didn't say anything just in case she wasn't who anybody that I knew. And then she's like, It's me, Carrie, previously possessed." And I was like, "Oh." She's like, "I should have wore your shirt." And I was like, "I would have definitely knew who you were then." But yeah, no, it was great, man. She came on by. She watched me speak too. I wish I got a picture with her though. That would have been great. Super sweet lady. Um, and then I met a lovely couple who bought some hot sauce, who go by Brenna and Alex. Brenna and Alex, how are you? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you are enjoying the hot sauce. I think it was blueberry that you guys grabbed. So if you if you're enjoying it, please let us know. I say us, but it's really just me running this fucking show. Nobody else does shit. There is nobody else to do shit. But yeah, no, Brenna and Alex came by the table and they had a little bit of a conversation with them. They were super nice, super chill people. So yeah, I hope they're enjoying the hot sauce. That's all I gotta say. If you guys are somehow, either email, Instagram, or the website, if you want to let me know. Also, you don't have to. You absolutely do not have to let me know what you think of the hot sauce, especially if you think it's terrible. I don't want to hear it. I'm just fucking with you. But yeah, so the event was fucking awesome. I can't wait for the next one. So and then so my next event that I will be at is Cryptid Halloween in West Virginia. I definitely need to restock and some hot sauce because I sold out of blueberry and rabbit hole down the rabbit hole. So that was awesome. I made a lot of money this weekend just off the hot sauce. And I meant to bring it down, but Jess and her boyfriend, they got me a gift for being a speaker this weekend, and it's a little hot sauce holster, and it says weird sauce right on the leather, which was fucking dope, dude. And I put it on my belt. So if you're on the Instagram and you saw the video of me speaking, you can see the holster on my hip and the hot sauce is in the holster. It's fucking, dude, I had such a good time. And then I beat Jess's ass in cornhole later that night at the after party. So, um, if you guys if anybody listening is in the area of Massachusetts next year, you end up coming to this event, come to the after party so I can beat you in cornhole. Um, so yeah, next one's October 26th, West Virginia. I'll give you more details in the next episode, but there is no Friday episode this week. This is the only one. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're having a good day, good night, good week. Whatever time you're listening to this, I just hope you guys are keeping yourselves well, taking care of yourselves, healing, ascending, raising your vibration, and just being an all-around positive and good person to show the world. You definitely deserve to be here, no matter your background, no matter your religion, your beliefs, and your opinions. They all, you matter. Okay. You deserve to be on this earth. So if you find yourself in any distress, if you find yourself in any kind of distress, mental health wise, please dial 988 here in the US. That is the National Suicide Hotline. Myself have being somebody who has attempted, I know the struggles and I know how it feels. So I beg of you to stay one more day. So, because whatever created us, whether it be God, um, or whatever you want to put to it, that power felt like this earth needed one of you. So stay another day, please. I'm happy you exist, and I'm happy you're here listening to this. This is awesome. You know, thank you for taking the time to to listen to this. Time is our greatest currency. I say it if not every episode, almost every episode. And the fact that the guests come on to spend this time and you guys come on to spend this time to listen, it means the absolute world to me. Um, and if you weren't here listening, I would still be having these conversations. It doesn't matter like I'm not here for the follows and the subscriptions and all that shit. I'm just here to have these conversations that excite me, that are interesting to me. So if that gains me listeners and followers through that, fucking dope, man. That's just a plus. So you know, the fact that anybody is here is, it's weird. It's first of all, it's weird to me that anybody finds any of this great to listen to. But yeah, I want to thank you. I want to thank you all, everybody who listens. And again, it means the absolute world to me. So, if you have any stories or anything that you want to talk about, conspiracy, spirituality, or mental health wise, definitely hit me up at wheretheweirdonesare@gmail.com. Um, or you can get me on Instagram where _ the weird ones are, or on Facebook where the weird ones are, hit me up on any of those, we can set something up. If you don't, if you would like to be anonymous, I will only do, I can do only audio, you know what I mean? So I don't have to put your face out on YouTube and shit like that. So, and I don't have to use your real name. You can just tell me your stories because I know without having somebody to tell these crazy experiences to, it can drive you up the wall. I promise you. I know. But if you like the show, please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. I would greatly appreciate the shit out of that. Um, if your podcatcher doesn't allow you to leave a review, you can leave one on the website where the weird ones are podcast.com. That is also where you can get merch. That is also where you can get weird sauce. Also the sponsor is featured on there, so go check that out. And I put a podcast of the month every month up there. So good podcasts, other podcasts that you can check out for your listening and or viewing pleasure. So, um, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. Um, Also, if you want to support me in any other way than that, I have Patreon, $5 a month. You get a free coffee mug and you get early access to the show. I will probably start doing the show live on Patreon. So the day that I record each episode will be on Patreon the very exact time that I'm recording it. And only the Patreon members will have access to that. Other than that, you'll have to wait for the regular show, So, um, and then you get story time, which is an extra segment where I tell a murder mystery to a guest and see if they can figure out who the fuck the killer is. So, all right. I've taken up enough of your time, so let's get into this with Brandon. Again, Mana Daily podcast on YouTube. Go check him out. Super nice guy. If you have any extra questions that don't get answered in today's episode, definitely hit him up and ask him those questions. Just don't be rude because we don't have time for that shit. So, well, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. You beautiful, beautiful people. All right, let's get into it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Weird, get weird.
Natasha from Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy, and you're listening to Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. So happy to have you here. Today I have Mr. Brandon Kroll. I hope I said that right. I think I did. So we're going to talk some shit today. So, Brandon, if you don't mind letting the good people know a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you like to talk about.
Yeah, basically, I am a Christian contrarian. I like looking at things from a little bit of a different perspective. I do think God gives us gifts with seeing things. Somebody might have a gift of vision. Somebody might have a gift with understanding something else in Scripture.
Hmm.
I am one of those people as a writer. I see metaphors. I appreciate symbolism. I have a gift as a writer. So one day I was going through a phase, very depression phase to the close of almost, going to the extreme. I took 7 months off. I just couldn't do work anymore. I was like, I'm not a machine. I can't do production factory stuff. And, and then when I was coming out of this little hiatus from humanity, COVID hit, and I'm looking
Nice.
around at the world. And it felt like Rick Grimes waking up from the tumor. Like, what's going on with it? Like, this is weird. Why are we living
Hmm.
in fear when we serve a God whose son conquered death, and we're wearing these emblems of fear on our faces? And it started irking me with what I was seeing within our churches, and I was kind of getting kicked out from my church in a sense, how I was ministering in junior church, and I was over here like, okay, I guess I'm gonna start posting some stuff online. I already know a good chunk of stuff. And so with my research with stuff with Dr. Heiser and a little bit of influence from a community school professor, Professor Finkel, got me starting seeing literature, read between the lines. It really got me a ground foundation of how to explain the Bible from a unique way, explaining the occult as opposed to, oh, creepy 33, there's another occult jester, they love Satan. I like going a little bit further with my conscriptions being kind of like a devotional tract prompt where you can look at somebody and be like, hey, what do you think about this at the workplace? And you can start a little bit of prodding with somebody. It's kind of what I do.
Nice. Sounds like fun. Now,
Yeah.
do you have a podcast or do you have like a
Mhm.
channel? Okay.
Yes. Frequently I'll do like swapcasts at the moment. I'm still trying to get the techie part with the Riverside. Maybe I'll do some book reading excerpts. I have the Mana Daily podcast, and you can find it on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and I'm just branching out into BitChute. Probably going to do Odyssey at some point for more controversial topics as the years progress. I kind of want it in so
Yeah.
many places at once until when they nuke it all, I'm completely, you know.
Yeah. YouTube's not gonna like you. We know that already.
Oh, 42 strong, and they still haven't figured out some stuff. I'm getting some pretty heavy topics out there. Instead of using
Oh,
the J
really?
word, I'm using the Y word, Y-E-W.
Uh-huh.
And I've explained Christmas trees, Corona, and the cross all in one episode. King of the U's. It's the most popular, but
Okay.
it's a heavy thing because when you understand how those things all interconnect, suddenly it makes people go, "Oh, so it's not an ethnicity; it's an ideology that they were even when they were rebelling in Old Testament. They're still doing that today."
Uh,
Yes, and you are too when you participate in this or when Corona hits this. And I'm showing you their symbolism. I'm showing you their hermetic Kabbalah tree of life. Because when we understand that as Christians, like I said, it's kind of like I guess spiritual warfare CIA intel. Okay, we got this on the ground. We got this. This is what this thing looks like. So, you put on the armor, but now I'm equipping the saints with some intel, spiritual intel, of how you can be bold and not be afraid, because I think
mhm.
sometimes within modern Christianity, we get a lot of them saying, well, I brought them to church. It's pastor's duty to kind of convert and, get them saved. And it's like, no, the power of the saints is not spells. It's not symbols. It's not signs like the occult does. Our God is a God of words. Word became flesh via the Son. And therefore, this means the greatest weapon against the enemy is your testimony and speaking up. That is why the Antichrist would have to make war against the saints, because you are calling out things.
Mhm. Mhm. Nice. I've I've gotten one video taken down from YouTube, and she my guest just brought up a article that she had read. So she was just talking about an article she read about the vaccines. That was it. Like she was like verbatim saying word for word what this article said that's out there in the internet, and she
Yeah.
was just telling it to me, and YouTube was like, "Nope, you can't talk about it at all. You cannot talk about this subject. And you also cannot talk about the election." And that's literally the email they sent to me. They were like, this is a list of things that you cannot talk about on YouTube. I was like, what? So then what I was going to do with my website was when I had like something that was controversial that YouTube might not like, I was just going to put the video aspect on my website. So
Yeah.
I'm going through the channels to try and figure that out, and YouTube powers my website, and I was like, fuck. So the same guidelines that YouTube has is for my website, and I was like, God damn it. How the hell did I fall into this trap?
I love it when they have the monopoly on things.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks. But
It's
that's part of the thing though, is that folks, like I just did for honor of 9/11, I've been doing a lot of posts.
mhm.
And I like doing okay, as opposed to all these other pages, I'm going to try to go deep dive and give you more in the inscription. And then when you watch an episode, you're over here going, whoa, I've never seen these before. So I was doing something on the dancing Israelis. And I'm laughing because, you get some articles, oh, they're still pushing anti-Semitism to this day. But then you see documentaries and you see news clips and you see this. And it was kind of making me chuckle because it's like, guys, this is stuff you literally can still Google. But when you talk about it, that's the problem. And it's ironic because in reversal, what they do is, see the ball? You saw the ball. I did predictive programming. You can't tell me you didn't know that this was coming. And I did a trick on you. I did a false flag. Don't tell me you didn't know. As they're flipping around the ball, it's just like, well, yeah, because I only see the trick going on right here. Not, did you hide it up your wrist? Is it between your fingers? Is it underneath one of the other balls when you're tipping the shell? Nobody's telling me how the trick is done, but you showed me all the elements that are at play. And that's the thing, is like when you talk about it, then you prompt somebody to look into it. That's the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there's
On their
there's
own.
been right. Because you know, I get I'll hear something and I'll look like so a lot of things that I've looked into, I've actually heard on other podcasts, mainly Tinfoil Hat, which you were you were a guest
Yeah.
on, and I happened to be messaging you when that episode came on with you on there, and I
Yeah.
had asked you if you wanted to be on, and then you messaged me back, and then I was like, hell, I'm actually listening to you, I think. Like I'm like actually listening to your voice right now.
Nice.
So that first of all, that episode was great, but I get a lot of like
Tomorrow.
points from like not only from that podcast, but other podcasts that I'm just like, what the hell, really? And then you
Yes.
look into it
Yes.
and you find like all this stuff, and then these little breadcrumbs. So like I was at Niagara Falls recently, and they were talking a lot about Thomas Edison, and they brought up JP Morgan, and I was like, I don't like JP Morgan. Like there's something weird about that guy. Like I already know some information about him. So when I got home, I started looking into Thomas Edison, and then come to find out like he was not, from what I've researched, wasn't the great inventor that he was obviously intelligent, but as from what I'm reading, there were other people that he was stealing from, and he may have
Major
had somebody
plagiarizer.
killed. So
Yes. The guy that invented the original television, was it? The guy over in
the
France?
movie camera, yeah, the guy from France,
Yes.
yeah, Le
Yeah.
Prince, yeah. He went missing, and then his son was actually testifying against Edison, and then his son, 3 years after the trial, was found shot in the head, and they said that it was suicide, but it was out in the woods while he was hunting.
Oh shoot, that I hadn't heard. See, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Just a dialogue like this. Oh goodness, because I
yeah,
was watching something the other day, and apparently of Lewis and Clark, Lewis was allegedly assassinated. He was shot twice.
yes,
I'm going, how come I've never heard? I'm like a diehard historian, and I've never heard of this. Or in England during the War of 1812, their prime minister was assassinated, and I'm like, that sounds kind of fishy during a time of war. I got to
mm-hmm,
get in. Like again, what's going on behind the scenes? Because they always tell us about what goes on during the war. What led up to it? That's what I want to know.
yes. Yeah, that's what I want. Like I still don't even know, and always meant to look into it, but I still don't even know what the reason for World War I was. Like I know
Oh yeah.
everything about, well, not everything, but I know a lot about World War II. But I know little to nothing about World War I. I know
They
that
shot the
I
firearms
know
to it.
we as a
Yeah.
country weren't involved in World War One, but World War
Soldiers, yeah.
Two we were. And
We're
I
always
know
the
that,
clear crew.
yeah,
And I
it's
think that's by design, but I mean, Albert Pike, he predicted all three world wars, and that was to eliminate the Tsarist regime in Russia, and they were kind of getting their butts kicked. So what they did, they said, hey, you give us Palestine with the Balfour Declaration, signed on
mhm,
9/11, 11/9, but it was like, invert that, that's 9/11. November means
right.
9. And I was going, Balfour Declaration, so you're telling me, what, like, it literally has Palestine written in the contract. You're kind of going, guys. And then on top of that, when people are going, that doesn't really matter, and then we get a guy that's going for office again that's has his face affiliated with King Cyrus, and the second Cyrus is supposed to be their messiah figure, stamped on this commemoration coin from the Abrahamic Accords from 2007 1917 to 2017, 100-year commemoration coin of the Trump Cyrus Balfour Declaration on the coin, and on the back is the third temple. I said, guys, it's as plain as black and white. Like, for me, Prince Charles, Obama, I'm like, no, it's him.
Yeah. As for somebody that has voted for him twice,
When,
yeah, there's something that is it's a little off. Was the attempt like done on purpose? I don't know, but it's kind of weird. Like I don't know if I would let somebody shoot at my head knowingly, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But
well, yeah.
I don't
Did
know
you notice there's
what's
no
going
blood
on
on
through
his
somebody
hair?
else's head.
There was no blood on his hair. I mean, there's like a stats I have when I'm doing part two with tinfoil. I'm gonna be covering up leading up to this. So I'm not just
Ah,
yeah, yeah. And
perfect.
when there's no blood on his hair, and he's a huge germaphobe, so that's another red flag for me. So I'm over here going like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just laid him down and they're just like, here, we're gonna spray some blood on it, and then he gets up, he's like, oh, my shoes, because to anoint a priest, you need blood on the ear, blood on your hand when he touched it, and then he needs blood on his feet. Who takes off their shoes during the middle of a speech? I'm not saying nobody does. I mean, personally, I might, because I'm one of those people that's wearing barefoot, which is a thing that spreads out your toes as opposed to cramps them inward.
Yeah,
So the idea of going barefoot after wearing them for a long time, I might consider that. But I mean, a rich politician,
yeah.
it's
So,
not something
see,
you hear about all the time.
there's a lot of times where I'm standing for a long period of time, even like in conversations, I'll kind of like slip one of my feet out of my shoe and stuff.
Yes,
So, but with the blood on the hair, he was wearing a hat. I don't know if that would cause the blood not going on his hair, but I mean, his
possibly.
ear is still
Yeah,
against his hair, regardless. It's bleeding.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't know. I find it sus. I think as well when the minute you saw the I call them gaustikas when they're all wearing these little
oh
gauzes.
my God, that was ridiculous.
You fucking saw it,
That
yeah.
was so ridiculous.
It's like we're lions. I'm like, you look no better than a liberal wearing a mask. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
said the
trying.
same thing. I said
I
the
was
same.
trying.
My cousin's super liberal, to the point
Okay.
where he will start yelling at people for having a MAGA sticker on their car, and then chase them out of the parking lot. Yelling profanities at them, and then talk about it on Facebook like he's some hero. Um, which I don't really know him. I'm related to him, and I know that. You know what I mean? Like my
Right.
dad knows him, and that's
Right.
that's that's it. But I don't personally have a relationship with him. And I'm just like, and he posts all this stuff, and was posting the stuff about the ear, and and about everybody wearing the bandage on the ear, which is, I agree, was absolutely
Yes.
ridiculous. And I commented on the post, and I said, yeah, kind of like everybody's still wearing masks to this day, especially when they drive alone in their car. Like, you're a part of a cult,
Yes.
regardless of what side. Like, if you're like religiously following one politician or another, and that goes for like these false idols, like people in Hollywood and all that shit. Like, you're bowing down to a cult. I'll say it now, the Swifties, their cult for sure.
Mm-hmm. I have legit seen it where I'm over here like, guys, they're even talking about amnesia during events now. There's this thing where she was
Mm-hmm.
going like this, casting a spell over the crowd. And again, you watch a clip with Anton prior to that. He says, this is like a shotgun blast when you span it out like that. I'm like, that's the founder of the Church of Satan, by the way. That's not me saying that. That's like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
people don't want to connect dots. They don't know.
No, they just want to, which I mean I get it. I understand. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people out there that just want to live and not be bothered by, these kind of things. Like I'll say this right now. Like after I got out of a long-term relationship, it was when the masks had started going away, where
Mm-hmm.
people weren't standing in at the door in front of the store saying you have to wear a mask. So it was like right after all that, and I started dating this girl. We dated for like 2 months, maybe less. And every time she came over, I'm like, we gotta get all this water, we gotta get all this food. I was like, the rapture's happening, and I scared the shit out of her. And I was like, Jesus coming back, I swear to God. I was like, Donald Trump is the Antichrist. He has demonic symbols in his penthouse. He's on the 66th floor, and there's not a 66th floor in his building. Get the fuck out of here. We need to build a bomb shelter. And she's like, you're scaring me. So yeah, I just it's I've gone through phases throughout these past couple of years where I want to be I guess asleep, but then once I was like awake, I was
Mm-hmm.
awake, and I was like that black pill person where I'm like I got to do this, I got to do that. I was like
Yes.
the whole everything's gonna fall apart tomorrow. And then I started yelling at my ex-wife. I was like, "Don't vaccinate the kids! Don't vaccinate the kids! You better not fucking vaccinate the kids!" And every time they came to the house, I was like, "Did your teachers make you get vaccinated today or this week or something like that?" And they're like, "No." And I was like, "Okay." And then my ex-wife ended up sitting me down one day, and she's like, Your daughter really wants to get vaccinated." I was like, "Why does she want to get vaccinated?" She's like, "Because all of her friends are vaccinated. That's it." And I go, "No, she's not getting it." I was like, she can want to all she wants, but she's not getting it." And then, and then when she came over, I talked to her face to face. And, told her about my concerns and stuff like that. And then she understood and she no longer wanted it. So
Right.
I was
Right.
like, I was like, maybe it works. I was like, but there's already evidence that it doesn't. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I was like, you've already had it. I was like, your immune system is already gonna fight against it. I was like, you don't need it.
Right.
So
Well, it's good that you're talking about peer pressure aspects, but I mean that's what men are supposed to do. Because I think if someone was bringing out when they were reading in Genesis, saying like Eve was over here going, "Oh, I'll go run across the garden and go get this." No, like when you're reading it, apparently the text gives an indication that Adam was standing right there. It's like as the man, pick up a rock and smash in the head of the snake. Like stop it
yeah.
in its tracks. Because as a man, you're supposed to intercede and you're supposed to say, "Hey, I understand emotionals. Sense you're getting a little." It's like, no, let's think logically and rationally about this. I walk with God. We can consult Him and then say, hey, is it, we're having some second thoughts. Is it okay? But no, he's just like, yeah, okay, go ahead. It's fun. And, and this is the thing is like then you have massive regret afterwards. So kudos to you for actually standing up and doing what a man is supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny too because she was talking about how she wants to vote for Kamala Harris. She's only 13, she can't anyway, but she's like I want to vote for I said something about Donald Trump. I can't remember exactly, but then my son's like, yeah, Donald Trump, and I was like, okay, and then my daughter goes, I want to vote for Kamala Harris, and I go, why? And she goes, I don't know, and I go, you don't know? And she goes, no, and I go, okay. So why I was like, is it because she's a woman? Because you're also a female? And she's like, no. I was like, is it because she's already vice president? Like I'm just trying to figure out why you would, if you were 18, why you would vote for her. And she's like, I don't like Donald Trump. And I go, what do you not like about Donald Trump? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I was like, so you're just listening to people at school talk about this stuff and you're forming an opinion about something that you don't know nothing about. And she's like, yes. And I go, don't do that. And she goes, okay.
I love it. It's like, hey, you know what? If that's what you want, we're getting Kamala's laugh as your ringtone.
Yeah. Oh
I'll
my
change your
God.
mind real quick. Everybody will be like, what in the world is that? That's our future president. Oh!
Yeah. 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 I mean, I hope not, but I also,
Oh,
I
that'd be
mean,
serious.
right. I have mixed feelings about, the other one, obviously. So what, so what leads you to believe that the possible chance of Donald Trump being the Antichrist?
Well, one AI Bing generator predicted it.
Yeah.
Considering that's controlled by it. So if folks did not know, as you deal into the cryptid world, demons stems from the slain Nephilim, the giants, and that's something where I'm going, interesting. And it comes from the Greek, either Daimon or Daemon, which means spirit being. And Enoch states for 70 generations, your children, the Nephilim, as they're locking their angels under the river Euphrates, that dries up in again. So when people are saying it, but Enoch is not necessary, it's the only book in the world that explains how the angels got under the Euphrates in the first place. So I say take it with a grain of salt, at least historically. And for me, I was going, okay, so they're locked up for 70 generations until the time of the end. The root server for all AI computers is known as daemon or daemon waves. I was like, yes. And who
I
gave
did not know
us
that.
who gave us our internet? CERN. Who wants to bring about Apollyon? And internet, inter means place for tomb or corpse, net, to hold or restrain something. So is it possible the mark of the beast, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, 6 breaking us
Yeah.
down to a transhuman-like thing? So that's the Star Remfin, aka Star David. Folks aren't catching up. That is condemned because what Nimrod's family did. This is how I connect to with Trump. Nimrod basically said, okay, all these Nephilim, we can have a symbiotic relationship with them. So you ever watch the movie Venom?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy. This is what the stars of Hollywood are doing. Stars, like Starlink, angels were known as Starwalkers in Hebrew lore. And you want to hook us up with, so if we consent to this mark of the beast, convenience, wealth, materialism, things of this world, peace and security, things of this world, my kingdom is not of this world, so patriotism, I'm like, In contrast, they're saying, no, this is what you want. It's good. You still get your 401k, you still get retirement, you still get, so again, getting people into the peace and security, that's all I want. And in reality, you get this mark of the beast, and you are now indwelled with the massive demonic possession grid internationally, where you can't get out of your body. You can't even off yourself for like 5 or 6 months, it was saying, because why? It's party time. So for me, that also gives a thing where it's like, guys, in contrast, sons of God came down, had affairs with the daughters of men, Genesis 6:4 and Enoch 6. Christ was always casting demons out of people. But Genesis 6:4, I see the sons of God came down. We go over to 1 John, it says, behold what manner the love of the Father that we, Christians, should be called the sons of God. So Christ said, don't worry about those who can kill the body, because your soul's already secured. Why are they making war against us? Because I have a very strong hunch. We're replacing the former rebellious council of heaven. And that's why life sucks sometimes down here, because he's saying they wanted pleasures down there. That's what their existence was all about. That's what their followers want. I want people that are still going to submit and be loyal to me. So then this was making me do a little bit more digging. And it started making me ask, Groves unto Ashtaroth and Baal. What is this thing about, noses throwing down a snake staff? And I'm over here going, I have to ask more, and come to find out that connects with Caduceus staff and Hermes and Thoth. And again, theirs can't consume, because it's like, we can't be like creator, God first verse, God created heavens and earth. They can't create. They can replicate, mirror, but they can't create. So God's consumes theirs. And then later on, something else I found interesting is that, when Moses puts the bronze serpent on the thing out in the wilderness,
Yeah.
Look to this. Why? You guys want an idol? Okay, fine. I'm gonna make a joke about this. I'm mocking you. You're gonna get bitten by snakes until you look at the thing that a man of God made. You want to, celebrate this cross? And that was starting to make me go, what's the significance of a cross? Because later on you get around John 3:16, I think it's verses 14 and 15. As Moses lifted up the bronze serpent in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man be lifted up. Huh. So I looked into the symbolism of the cross, and it actually connects to an individual called Tammuz. This guy mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 8 with sun god worship. And I started going, okay, there's a lot more at play, because the occult, what they believe, and this is with Christmas trees, Kabbalah trees, this is what they believe, is regeneration, reincarnation, that Nimrod, when he died, his blood fell upon a ewe, because if Christ's name didn't start with a J, theirs probably started with a Y, so king of the ewes. So it fell upon a yew conifer tree, and then he was reborn into his son Tammuz. This is what the occult believes, regeneration, reincarnation, where in contrast, Christ came back and says, you saw these scars before, it's still me, it's not another person, it's me, back in the flesh. I have conquered that symbol of my doppelganger. So at Trump, I'm just laying groundwork, so at Trump, suddenly I go, let's break down the name etymology. Donald, world ruler, big whoop, okay. Trump, to deceive or one-up or outdo somebody else. So I go, okay, where does the name Donald stem from? Eventually you can go to Don for like Lord, which by the way, Lord means dawn, like the Spaniards. Don means Lord, an equivalent there. That comes from a Latin base. Don connects with Adonis. Adonis's equivalent is none other than Dumazid, a Sumerian goat shepherd god. Maybe pansexual, pandemic, pandemonium, panic. So I said, okay, Sumerian goat shepherd god. I separate the sheep from the goats. Then I find out Dumazid's connection is with Tammuz. And I said, okay, weird. And then we get, in the Greek, Tammuz is affiliated with Hermes. And in Rome, Hermes' equivalent is Mercury, for transgender sign. Mercury has a direct connection going back to Marduk and Baal of ancient Babylon. And then you find out Trump's in charge of the Vatican and exchequer of the world banks, according to a book by Gerald Posner, God's Bankers. And that finally was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Game over. Because on top of that, they said 9/11 was to hasten the coming of their Mashiach. This was Bibi Netanyahu. And somebody in the 1981, 83, Gershom Solomon, he said that Netanyahu would be in charge when the third temple is built. And I'm seeing Trump constantly bumping around with Mr. Netanyahu currently. And like I just said, with the Balfour Declaration. So this is me going, we're this close. We're this close. A name that connects directly back to Baal and Nimrod's son Tammuz, their occult's messiah figure. Christ pagan doppelganger. A guy that's got constant blasphemy. Like more than any time I've seen in history. Yeah, all right, I'll shut up. But yeah, that was just the ground basis for me. There's a tons more, but that was kind of making me go, guys.
Yeah, that's super interesting. You know, to go back to the internet part of it, like the www, right, is 666 technically in Hebrew or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's
Yes.
like 666 all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I don't even, when I type in websites, I don't even type in the W's. I just type in the website. You
Yes,
don't need
web.
the W's.
Pretty strange. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
that was
interesting.
the other thing is the followers of the beast is 666. The beast itself is 616. How come
Oh, okay.
Marvel always has 616 as your own? This is Planet 616. This is the main universe. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, hold up. 2 times 33 for Masonic 33 is 66. What's missing? Your I, your one, your God conscious potential. The magician on the tarot card, right above him, you'll find the I or the letter, the Roman numeral 1 or I, as we would spell it.
Yeah.
That's what's missing, your God potential, the God particle. And then you do the founding of the skull and bones, the 322. 3 times 22 is 66. And I was like, okay, what's missing? You're one, you're got potential. And then I was just doing this one the other day, and I said, no, shoot, I should have added this when I was doing tinfoil. What's 9 times 11? It's
Oh,
99.
you're
You
asking me.
heard that.
You're asking.
56. What do we get? Boom. Say, like, what's missing? Your God potential. I'm over here like, ah! Sometimes I don't want to know. I hate math, but these things pop into my head, and I'm like, God, I don't think, especially since 2020, I think those who are semi-awake or they had a little bit of this thing resonating, it's going to
Mm.
wake us up more and more and more. Whereas those who are kind of like, meh, or still skeptical, it's just going to put you further and further asleep with whatever stunts they play from now on. And it's literally the shifting of the goats and the sheep. As some are going, I want to submit to my master. The other ones are going, it's fine. Somebody will fix the system for us from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah. One side's like, I'll do anything for safety and peace, even
Mm-hmm.
giving up all my rights. And then the other side just like, let's vote somebody else in that
Mm-hmm.
was already in, you know? So it's it's interesting. Have you been able to see the this supposed mural that's in the Trump Tower in his penthouse?
Oh, the one
Then
with Helios riding from east to west?
yes, because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it. I've only heard about it.
I have it on my face Instagram.
Okay, I'll have to check
Actually, I
that
think I
out.
covered on this next episode with tinfoil because
Okay.
guys, when you understand Helios is an equivalent of Tammuz, and again, like
Mm-hmm.
there's the all-seeing eye, there's the pentagram, and you can Google this one, folks. All right, I'm not sure if you can read it on a show and they get freaked out, but it says Trump east meets west, east meets west. That is a phrase. East meets west or east to west is affiliated with Helios, where we get
Mm-hmm.
heliocentrism from. It's like, guys, I don't know, but why is this again affiliated with this guy?
There's a lot of red flags, man. There's a lot of red flags.
And red caps.
Um, that is so I asked somebody else who's like very not knowledgeable about the Bible,
Mm,
and I keep hearing this phrase from a lot of people. I personally have never read the Bible. I've read Enoch, I've read Job, but I haven't really gotten into the actual like Bible. Like I've read pieces and parts of the offshoots, but anyway, so I've heard this phrase said that the Antichrist is unanimously loved and
mhm.
and will be before they are hated, before they you know start showing their true colors. Um, and I was thinking in my head, which normal people they think in their head, but
Right.
so I was like, well, if the Antichrist is unanimously loved,
Mhm.
I don't think Trump was ever unanimously loved. Like I don't like obviously there's people like especially now there's a big percentage of Americans that love him. I mean
Mhm.
even people in other countries love him.
Yes.
Um but I was thinking I was like who is like really loved by everybody right now? And Mr. Beast came to mind. I was like Mr. Beast like and there's some like and now there's like a bunch of crap coming out about like maybe he didn't know, maybe he did know about people that were working with him and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um but it's really interesting and the fact that his name is Mr. Beast like I was just like that's really interesting. I wonder if that plays a part into anything. I don't know. But it was just like a random offshoot thought that I had not too
Right.
long ago, maybe a
And
month
that
or two ago.
and I've explained that to folks where I said, think about all the people that are going to be popping off in the next 5 to 6 to 8 years with amping up the 5G towers, and then when they go to 6G where they want to use humans as human antennas. This is a
Yeah.
legit article you can Google up. And I'm over here going, you would definitely, and then let's say we had a Civil War instance.
Which kind of
Get rid of
looks
all my
like we
haters.
might.
Right, get rid of all my haters.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's got like cultural subversion, like Yuri Bezmenov said. You tell your guys, go pick up the guns and go get rid of the liberals. Okay. And then everybody's thinking, oh, yeah, we're doing it for Christ, because this guy's like, he's totally for him, and we're getting rid of the bad things in our culture. And in reality, you don't even realize it's like that's the granted. Like I said to folks, I'm right in the middle. I'm centrist. I'm libabel enough to have the humanity aspect of seeing people's pains, but not going like, oh, I need to shave my head in solidarity and dye my hair and or what all this fill in the blank add on crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm also not crazy enough where I'm conservative enough, and I'm going. You think saying FJB in the middle of a stadium when I just want to watch the game with my kid is okay to drop the F bomb in front of my kid? Like, what are we conserving exactly? We can go to Hooters and, like, for me, I'm like laughing because it's a dichotomy of hypocrisy.
Yep.
And I think a lot of folks don't realize is that they can play both sides very easily. In the very least, what I could possibly foresee is Donald being the Tammuz, and they're trying to go back into the Nimrod, which would be Baron Trump, and that would go back in the 1890s of saying when they wrote the book, Baron Trump, the last president of the United States.
Yep.
Legit thing, and it makes me go, well, that would make Donald then Tammuz, and they're going back into Nimrod, because the first thing we went and hit after 9/11, when we retaliated, we hit the museums and mausoleums, and we found you can YouTube this, just type in like Iraq, Gilgamesh or Nimrod's tomb, and one of the guys that they find had a fish on his belly, and that was making me go, Baron was born in the month of Pisces, which is the fish. And I'm chuckling because what do they say early Christians used to draw was a fish? Because Catholicism and Dagon,
Yeah.
fish god with the Mithra hat. Again, it's all equivalence and variance. And it was making me go, I wonder if they're like prepping the way so that like, it's all ready for you, my son. We have prepped the way for you. And then he ends up becoming the next, I don't know, 2028, 2029, the messenger between the gods. Because he's super tall. There's probably some Nephilim bloodlines going on in there. I wouldn't be surprised. But a lot of the Syrian symbolism is in America. Did you find it?
No.
I could probably send it to you. I think I saved it on my saved reel because I was over here like,
All right.
yeah, guys, they opened up something over there. We never just do something for the willy-nilly or for the good natured of the American race or
Yeah.
people. I'm like, you have to understand, there's always a double objective. And the things they don't want getting out to the public, this is why we offed the squad team that went to hit Osama bin Laden. There's reasons for this, folks. Like,
Yeah.
if you knew the truth.
It's just like with 9/11, so the people that were hijacking the planes were Saudis, but we went to Iraq. It doesn't make any sense. Why didn't we go to Saudi Arabia? you know, um, and I do think that there was not only was that some form of ritual, but I do think that there was also a lot of things that they were destroying with destroying the buildings. But it's interesting too. I know these are bigger planes than that what hit in the I think it was like the 20s or the 30s. A plane crashed into the Empire State Building at the
Yeah,
top, towards the top.
yeah.
But that building didn't fall down. It was
No.
just burnt at the top. So I just even back so the 9/11 happened when I was in 7th grade, and I remember getting home like they called school early
Mm-hmm.
because of it.
Same.
And I remember them wheeling in the thing to put on the news because everybody was just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." And when I got home, man, I turned that TV on and I'm sitting there watching it and I'm seeing people jump out of these buildings and stuff like that, which
Mm-hmm.
was terrifying. It was 13, maybe 12, and I was just like, "Oh my God." And then once the buildings fall, I was like, "Why did it fall from the bottom?" Like that
Mm-hmm.
was like my instant thought was like, "Why is it falling from the bottom?" And I'm like, because when you hit a building from the top, do you think the top of the building would fall? I don't know. Maybe, and then there's thoughts like, well, maybe it wasn't because they never come out and tell you that it was a controlled demolition, but
Right.
maybe they did have some kind of like fail safe if, the building was fucked up from the top and
Even a
they
better narrative to go with. I'm just saying,
right,
but
right,
nope.
right. Right. I'm just throwing shit out.
Uh-huh.
But like it's strange. Everything is strange. And the more that I look into this shit, I'm just like, man, they do everything on purpose. There's not nothing
Yes.
in that has happened that hasn't been on purpose. Like um like right now, like with Trump, like, and now the judge just put his conviction date after the election. So like or his sentencing, I should say. So his sentencing is after the election, so he can be elected president and then exonerate himself or some shit. I don't fucking know. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what he can do, but it's fucking it's weird. It's all weird. And it's gonna be at the price of all of us, I think.
Oh yeah, and that was something that I was noticing because January 6th in the occult, that was the day the Christmas trees would come down. Also was allegedly the day that adolescent Jesus was visited by the Magi. It's
Mm-hmm.
also the day he was allegedly baptized by John the Baptist, and the root word for Magi is MAGA. And that was on January 6th. And I
No
was over here going,
shit.
right? On top of
Fucking
that,
A.
what happens? We have, again, he's on trial. Christ was on trial. He literally depicts himself in a sketch. Somebody, like, I think he took it from a newspaper thing, but him sitting next to Jesus on trial. And then I was finding it interesting. I said, he invents Truth Social. You have Pilate. What is truth when he says it to Christ? It makes me go, And then on top of that, who did they release as opposed to Christ? They released Barabbas, who was an insurrectionist. Trump is allegedly, again,
Yeah.
you're just looking at the compare contrast, a little ironic that they're, again, this is constantly affiliated with one particular guy. And it's like, you can't tell me there's not something going on here because it keeps popping up. And we're over here just going, nah, come on, that's just silly. Yeah, well, you can keep saying that while the pot gets hotter and hotter, but at a certain point, like you said, it's at our expense that we weren't listening to people who are going, you might want to relook at what's being portrayed for us. I mean, I think they have a song by Natasha Owens, The Chosen One. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can YouTube it. I was going, oh, I did a whole reel showing all the blasphemy, and then like a minute and 30 seconds, I'm like, ding ding, like Trump casting Biden and Kamala out of the White House, like God with Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, and I was going, even evangelicals, I'm looking at them like, do you see how pervertedly interchangeable we have made this? And then
Mm-hmm.
at top of that, at a Turning Point USA event, like again, this is kind of like I've used this analogy several times, but it's kind of like remember like 8 to 10 years ago, I think it was a Brazilian little dress thing. It said, "Is the dress blue or is it gold?" And this was going
Yes.
all over social media. So I was like, "I'm not Christian," is what allegedly I swear he said, but he says, "I am a Christian." Everybody's going arguing that semantics, but I'm like, okay, let's say we skip that for a moment. He goes on to say, "And Christians, go out and vote. This will be the last election. We'll have it fixed so good you won't have to go out and vote anymore."
Yeah, that was an interesting line.
Wait, hold up. Like, guys, I thought we had presidents, not dictators, and I know you keep going, and I'm laughing. Because let's say you have the right so paranoid that they don't watch anything liberal, and the liberal
Mm-hmm.
people are actually telling you the truth at this time, let's say, about like Project 2025, even though he keeps saying, "I have nothing to do with it." Well, you also say you have nothing to do with the vaccine, then the next minute you're saying you're the father of the vaccine, and then you give Fauci an award for warp speed upon leaving office. It kind of is like, guys, I don't know what to tell you, but like Ivanka had a honorary position on the World Economic Young Global Leaders
Mm-hmm.
2016. You can look this up. Brave browser's probably best because Google might censor it. And I'm over here going, if he's already got connections with this thing, and he's got connections to Kissinger, and again, I think that was 2017, month of October. I think it was October 17th, or I think there was a 7 somewhere in there. He's over here saying Kissinger has been a great mentor in my life. Klaus Schwab, one of my greatest mentors in my whole life was this guy. And I'm like, and again, this is the stuff they censor with my posts, and it makes me go, why is the ones that are right over the target showing the connecting dots when I put those things together, that's the stuff they censor, as opposed to, it's fine. No, because they don't want people connecting dots, like you were just saying in the beginning with the article. If you
Mhm.
start digging and researching it yourself, suddenly that's, don't do that. Don't do that. We want you still being brainwashed.
Yes. Yes. And uh, the sense that I've started noticing symbolism too
Hmm.
is that the number 30, like you were saying earlier with the Freemasons and stuff like that, like the number 33, I hear it in every single movie I fucking watch. I swear to God. We were just watching, I really wanted to, I like horror movies. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that horror movies are one of the easiest ones to put all that shit into.
Yeah.
Um, and this movie Longlegs came out recently, and there's so much stuff in this. I mean, it takes place in the 90s when Bill Clinton was president, so there's a big picture of Bill Clinton in the office and stuff like that. But right at the beginning, they're asking this detective questions, and they ask her a mathematical question. There's only one mathematical question, and the only answer was 33. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And that was the
Yeah.
only time they ever asked her anything mathematical or for her to spit out a number, and it was 33. It just happened. I don't know. It's weird. And then like with the show Fallout, she's in
Yes.
freaking Unit 33, and she's got a big 33 on her back through the whole fucking show, and I'm just like, what the hell, man? It's a good show, but goddamn, like, what
They
the
throw
hell?
it
Like,
in.
they sneak it in there. And I was talking to I don't know if you know him, but what the hell's his name? Brad from Awaken podcast. He talks about the 33rd parallel and stuff
Yes.
like that. Yeah. He was talking about how he was on when he was an extra on the show Stranger Things, about how they like meticulously and purposely made things look like so the evil mayor was running for office. They made his
Mm-hmm.
sign look like Trump signs and stuff like, and it was on purpose. And he was sitting there watching this whole thing, and he's like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" And so like I don't know. We there's just so much chaos. They want us they want to keep us in a fear state. We don't know what the fuck is happening half the time, which leads us to just be in a state of fear
Mm-hmm.
constantly. And then people aren't looking into shit like the way you are. Or I mean, I don't even delve into that in that deep, and I'm still like aware that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that there's something funky going on. So I don't know.
Well,
It
season 3 of Stranger Things, isn't that the one with the black goo thing?
Yeah, I think
Look up
so.
the 1992 Spain Olympics opening, and you will find they had this big blue germ ball thing going around, and the humanity of the voyage of humanity, all these dead people. And then they had this
What?
black symbiotic thing coming out, just like I was saying with Venom. They had this black symbiotic thing coming out as like this tumor, and this is the thing they've been pulling out of people in their veins once they've gotten the miracle juice. That's the
Yes,
thing they're pulling out of people. And I'm hoping you're going, okay, so you just said season 3 with the mayor guy and this black goo thing, and comparing it to Operation Warp Speed. Like, it's showing us, guys, we literally could show you blatantly. You might think, oh, it's just liberal bias, but it's like we're showing you blatantly. Like, even the boys, they're trolling conspiracy theorists and Republicans, but they're also having this whole event going down on January 6th. It's guys, for me, it's becoming so obvious that they're trolling us blatantly. And I'm like, for me, guys, they're gonna come for us at some point, and
yeah.
I'm anticipating it. I'm over here at like, it's about time. Because what is their greatest obstacle is people that are actually saying, look over here. Can we start a conversation about this? Here's a book. Did you see this reel? Things that get people to think is a problem, and that's why you have to make war against them, because you're causing issues in my Matrix world.
Mm,
Can't
mm.
have that. We're a virus. If we say, oh, we're in this some sort of reality, it's like, yes, we're a virus to their system. Get us out. Demons don't like Christians. That much I can tell you, because
For
when they
sure.
saw Christ, it was over here going, "Ah, what are you doing here?" Go into that herd of pigs. Yes, sir. Please. Okay. Please put us in the pigs. We don't want to go back to hell. Please. Like, it makes you think.
It does. It really does. And I'll hopefully it never stop. I mean, I hope none of this like comes to fruition, but if
Same.
so, what from what your research is telling you, if Donald Trump does become president, what are we looking at for our future?
Well, again, take it with a grain of salt, because somebody's going, "Oh, that's just movies. They're just looking at movies," because it's talking about the years ahead, and then they went into Google Images. Oddly enough, 2025 was lockdown, so monkeypox, say whatever.
Yeah.
2026 just the World Cup. 2027 was Armageddon, and I find that interesting because right after Trump's ear shooting, there was a rabbi saying during Trump's administration on October 2nd of 2027, they're going to be having an announcement with him. What that regards, I don't know, but I was going, hmm. And
Hmm.
then in 2028, it had the devil and Christ doing an arm wrestling over the world. In 2029, there was an alien invasion. And I said, that is pretty close to what I was pitching, because it says, allegedly, that for the first 3.5 years, it looks okay. So we get 2025, 2026, 2027, and then going in halfway to 2028, I said he'd probably push a martial law sort of thing. I'm just saying. And what would happen in the wake of that? A lot of Christians that have been programmed with the Jesuit tainting of the Bible, rapture, Jesus comes back, suddenly World War III goes down, and there's nothing. You're just going, is everything I believed is a lie? And then you have, boom, Project Bluebeam. You haven't been paying attention to everybody else that was warning you. Now they've all been executed in masse. Now this comes back down. You're like, Anunnaki space gods come back. It's actually the fallen angels under the river Euphrates coming out, and you're just going, oh, yay! Don't worry, we'll help you achieve your own God consciousness. And we sent all this Muhammad and Jesus and Buddha, and you got it all wrong, but we're here to unite all of humanity. That is what I personally see. And lastly, connecting it with the Paris Olympics, they had the Phoenix event for the closing.
Yep.
In a world where the Olympics no longer exists, you look up, what was the movie? Demolition Man, with Wesley Snipes as Phoenix.
Yep.
And Sylvester Stallone, and the year was 2032. If it is
No
7
shit.
years of tribulation, from 25 to 2032 is exactly 7 years. And I was going, I don't know, because they already had the Italian parade of the God Emperor Trump. Statue of Liberty's on his kneecap. He's got the eagle on his upper arm, and then on the other, he's holding a sword. And you can look up the inscription in Latin what it means on the sword. But on the hilt of the sword, it's the triangle, like all-seeing eye. I was going, and he's wearing an olive thing on his head, and I'm like, guys, I know you say cosplay, it's just ha-ha, hoo-hoo. But for me, I'm like, and they call it the Phoenix. America was known as America. E-M, was it Emurka? I'm probably butchering it, forgive me, but it means land of the feathered serpent, or the phoenix. And I'm like, the phoenix rises.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of have to wonder if there's a little something, because like I said, regeneration, reincarnation, it's Nimrod coming, so in the occult perspective, I could say from 2025 onward, first 3.5 years, it's probably going to look okay. I wouldn't be surprised if like 26, 27, some people start disappearing. Platforms just disappear, and they're like, oh, they must have gone on vacation. It's been like 6 months now, dude. That is kind of weird, isn't it? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that started occurring. I would not be
Mm-hmm.
surprised. But again,
Yeah.
I'm pitching. I'm always open to being wrong, as if I've just thrown out as a detraction statement. I'm just saying, because I'm not going to throw out a specific date. That's stupid.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just saying, as a timeline, from what they've shown us, from what research is indicating, and if it's true, we'll put all that together in a little bow package. That's something I could potentially see. It could all be wrong, but it's something I could foresee it. I could see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to that, like that statement where you'll never have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good, like, and then
That's
that
another
book,
aspect. Yeah,
the book
yeah.
for that, like that's just laying the groundwork for Baron to take over. That it'll become like a kings and queen kind of thing where it's only lineage and shit. That's what it sounds like when he said that. I
Well,
was like, that's fucking weird.
right.
You
God
know?
sent his son to allow people to collect people for the kingdom of heaven, right? in
Yeah.
contrast. Don't worry, Baron. I prepped the world for you, so I'll just hand it to you, and everybody will love you for it because it's your world, man. You know, I did it my way. It's kind of. I prepped everybody to love the things of this world to a point where we've merged with Twitter, aka X, which is Osiris Rising. That's why he names everything X. Very
Yep.
Jesuit.
Yep.
I could see it. I could see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was this
That's another.
moment back in 2015. My niece's boyfriend, her and him were living with us and stuff, and it was the height of the election and shit like that, and we were discussing politics and shit. He's like, you know what? I really want Trump to be president. And I'm like, what? Why? Why? 'Cause I mean, I was already for Trump anyway. I'm conservative. And
Right. Right.
if like, and that's what I use as a label. If I have to label myself, just so people know, like my ideology is conservative, but
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
not Republican. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, I that's
That's like me with, like, I say I'm a libertarian. I say I have sentiments in libertarianism. Doesn't mean I'm affiliated with the party as my identity. I totally
Right.
understand.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Right.
So we're talking and we're discussing why, and like the first thing he says it with a big ass smile. And he goes, "Because Trump's gonna bring the purge, man." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, he said it like 20 fucking times within like a week span. He's like, "Trump's gonna bring on the purge," and like, and I just laughed at him. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, weirdo." And yeah, so with this happening when and we're talking about martial law and stuff like that, that's basically the purge.
Yes. And Tree of Life Synagogue, you can look it up at a rally. I think it was in Illinois. I'm going to play it in part two with Tinfoil. But he was saying it's time to bring back the death penalty for anti-Semitic. And I was
Yeah.
going. And it is champion of Noahide laws on November 3rd of 2020. That's Israeli national news. And I was going, hold up. You watch the Olympics. I just did an episode on this. But it was showing like one of the statues. The golden guy was walking by, and the guy that came down from above, he was walking
Hmm.
by a statue that didn't have a head. It was an angel without a head. It says that a little bit of a nod, like I said before, where we were taking their place, but they're mocking us, saying, "Yeah, when you get there, you'll be headless, though." Because in Revelation 24, it said, "I saw the heads of the saints who were beheaded for the witness of Christ." To paraphrase, and I'm like, I wonder, you
Oh,
know, I wonder. It's a little bit of a mockery symbol of saying, yeah, you'll get there, but you'll have to lose your head as the price. And, guillotines were invented by a Freemason. So, they have them at FEMA camps. I mean, Walmart, Mart Law, it's an anagram. Come on, folks. Designed by the military. Get your
holy
groceries
fuck.
indeed. Right?
Holy fuck.
Like, right now, mine's expanding, and I'm over here like, expanding. Sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious, man. You just gave me a whole lot to think about. Man, I'm gonna end up going down some rabbit holes tonight, I think. Fuck.
Hey, yeah.
This
Have at it, my friend. Welcome to my world. It's very hard, like you were saying in the
oh
beginning,
I
for like
yeah.
dating things. It's like, how do I even breach this conversation? Like, can I start slow with history? Like, you think that's a little And it's like, nah, you're not ready. It's like
Yeah.
I pretend to be. I'm not smart enough to pretend to be stupid to fit in. It's really annoying.
Yeah. 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 It it got interesting there. Cuz I was on dating apps and shit too for a
Yeah.
while. And like it became like being vaccinated became a part of your identity. Oh, it was the first line. I'm vaccinated, and I'm just like left. I'm swiping left. Like if you're, I
That's
mean, it's
me.
like it's your business. It's not mine. Like I don't give a fuck. Like why? Why do we? It's just like women complaining about guys with fucking fish pictures. Like oh, if they
Mm-hmm.
have a fucking picture of them holding a fish, I don't want to fucking. I'm gonna swipe left. Like it's the same thing
Right.
for me anyway. Um, but it's just like it's the identity politics of it. Like they're just like I'm bi, I'm vaccinated, and this and that, and I support LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter and this and that. I was like, I don't give a fuck what you support. I want to know who you are as a person. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I want to know. Tell me that shit. But, everybody wants to join a team, essentially.
Yeah. They
Everybody
want to
wants
be
to be
pro
on a
or
team.
anti, and I'm like, in a world that's so anti this and that, I said, isn't it very easy to emerge as an antichrist? And everybody's just
Mhm.
laughing at you for when you call it out. Like I was reading some of the comments under tinfoil, and I was over here going, small minds often have the biggest mouths because they can't even bother to hear the conversation, and they're like, oh, that's not right. That's not. It's like, hear the perspective. You don't have to like memorize it, love it, or like the thing. You just listen to it, and you're just like, yeah, this guy's weird. That's it. You don't have to write a comment, but a lot of NPCs, it's just like, well, that doesn't go with the narrative I want to hear coming out of your mouth. It's just like, all right,
Yeah, that exactly, exactly.
propaganda.
I had this woman on. She was talking about how inverted celebrities in Hollywood and how you can
Hmm.
tell and stuff like that, and just like talking about body forms and stuff like that between the differences between male and female. And
Hmm.
because she doesn't have a formal education in it, somebody got upset and had to let me know that my guest was inaccurate and she doesn't have a formal education. And I was just like, you don't have to like and I say this a lot too, especially when we get into topics like this. I was like, you don't
Yes,
have to have a formal education to read a fucking book,
right.
you know?
It's like, do you hear how you sound right now? Unless you're smart, this is sophistry. Unless you have the credentials, wear nice clothes, and you have several thousand degrees, I'm not going to
Hmm.
listen to you. But the average
Yeah.
pleb in the street like you, no, I don't want to listen to you. This is what happened during COVID. See how that turned out. It's like, guys,
Like, people started dropping like fucking flies.
right?
Even
I
like
was like,
that
that's great
comedian, I
because I
think
love you.
actually Sam talked about it. She was
Yes,
literally she's like, I was vaccinated and blah blah blah. And like literally within seconds after saying it, she's just like, oh. And everybody's
yeah.
laughing because she thought they thought it was a shtick, and then fucking no, she fucking went to the hospital that night. So it's interesting. It's
Hey,
fucking man, people and I people watch too. So like I'm one of those people that has to know where the exits are and shit like that. And to like especially when I'm with my kids, I scan people's faces who are coming near us and stuff like that. I'll look literally in the face. I don't give a fuck how awkward it is. I'm looking you in the face so I can fucking identify you if I have to.
right.
Um and fuck, now I forget where the fuck I was going with that, but like oh yeah, I people
You
watch and
with
people
people.
are
Yeah.
fucking weird. People do weird shit. And I'm sure if somebody was to watch me, they'd be like, that dude's fucking weird. Um, but people are strange and man, I don't know.
Mhm.
They like I said a couple minutes ago, people just want to be on a team. And
Yes.
and that's what I think that's the downfall. We can't you have to have a bunch of people shouting the same things you're shouting, or else you don't feel like you're worth anything, I guess, or something like that.
Well, it's like
It's
even
really
especially
bizarre.
with Republicans, it's like, oh, so you automatically like Kamala or Joe or Hillary, and it's like, no, I'm in the
Yeah.
middle, and suddenly they go, you can't be in the middle. That's throwing away your vote. It's like I can't even be neutral. Like you're literally telling me it's one or the other, but you tell me also it's a free country. It's like no, it's not because you're telling me I can't
Mhm.
be neutral. And it's ironic because as somebody with like myself, contrarian, you say I'm against both sides, and everybody throws their rocks at you. It's like I'm taking double the heat because I'm against all
Yes.
y'all. A Mexican
Yeah.
standoff, two of them are gunning at me. You're like, come on, this isn't fair.
Yeah. I've been saying for like the past couple of years too, I was like, we need other parties. We need more than just two choices. Because just like George Carlin said, we have the illusion of choice. We can go out
Yes.
to the frickin' coffee shop and have 32 different bagel flavors, or even 32 different coffee flavors at this point. But we only get two choices of who we want to run the most important thing,
Mhm.
and that's our country.
And that's where I
It's
tell folks I want to go back to tribal because it was respect the elders.
Yep,
You respected feminism, not femininity.
yep,
And you got, as opposed to a soldier that does the dictations of the, guy behind the legislation of a desk, I fight with the chief. I avenge and I defend my tribe. I love that mentality. Like somebody was saying, I was watching a clip and the guy's like, "Oh look, he's talking to this guy from a tribe that's making fun of his shirt because the material he's made. He's wearing like an Apollos, skin." It says this guy doesn't know anything. He's still tribal, and I'm like, as opposed to being dictated under a government, I'm like, heck yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, man, that does sound great. That actually, I think I'd be down for that too, man. I'm down for community. Um, no, either less to no government.
Mhm.
It's funny how taxes have turned around to like where we're throwing frickin' tea into the ocean because we don't want to be taxed, but now
Right.
everything taxed. Like our
47%
I
was it
didn't
now?
know this, but our bosses are frickin' taxed to pay us. Like when they pay us money, they're taxed, and then we're taxed to receive the money, and then we're taxed when we spend our money.
Mhm.
It's
Really had
fucking
to do a whole annual thing for the IRS. Like they still owe me $1,600, and they don't answer my
wow.
calls. I can't even check my status. I'm like, guys, do you see the hypocrisy? They can 2.3 million trillion, sorry, from 9/11/2001, but me, well, my money. Where's my representation? Like it's the same thing. So like you want me to pledge allegiance to guys that are dropping chemtrails on me, poisoning food, and I had to get a license to throw a worm into a lake so I can get something to feed myself, or I go to jail or I get to pay a fine. I'm sorry, guys, but your laws sound stupid. Steal the king's deer. By all means. Like, good grief, people.
He dared to kill a king's dare.
Like, land of the free, home of the brave. It's like, no, land of the fees, home of the slaves. Come on, folks, wake up. It's all a joke. It's all a joke.
Yes. 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 Man, this was an awesome conversation, Brandon. I really
Agreed.
appreciate you, man. This was a good fucking hour, bro. There's a lot of things
Therapy.
I didn't know. There's some things that I was kind of privy to, but not 100%.
Uh,
We'll have to have you come back and do another chat about something. I'm sure
sure.
there's plenty of other things we could talk about. So, but if you don't mind, I'll ask you this one more question.
Hmm.
Um, are you finding fulfillment in doing what you're doing?
Actually, that's a very good question. It's like right in the middle. Part of
Yeah.
me, yes, on a spiritual level, I do feel like I'm helping people. I'm getting some ground and traction. Again, people saying, "Oh, you're getting narcissistic." I'm like, before I used to be obnoxious as a kid because I would always hide behind a joke like Chandler. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually being serious, and everybody's saying you're narcissistic, you're this, you're that, and I'm or obnoxious, and I'm over here, or like you're. I'm like, I know I'm good at what I do, but it's it's a little bit distressing because one, I'm not really techie, so I'm already struggling with that. But secondly, it's like, guys, if out of 11,000 followers, if each person threw me like $5, I'd be set for like 2.5 years. Like right right now, I'm thinking to myself, and that's a one time. A lot of folks are over here saying, "Oh, you're doing this wrong. Oh, you should have asked this question. Oh, could you put the book in the thing?" And it's like you don't understand all the work I put into
Yeah.
this. How much time it takes to write an inscription. How much time it takes to compile all these slides, and they want everything for free. But then they're always criticizing the thing, the final presentation you do give.
Yeah.
So fulfilling. It kind of feels like a dad trying to give money to a teenager, where they're just, I mean, you're like, "Thanks, dad," and then it's like, they just blew $200 that I made this week doing overtime. So in a sense, it's fulfilling in the sense spiritually. On the financial sense, it's kind of like I feel like I'm being taken for granted. By a lot of
Mm.
folks. Like again, I understand a lot of folks can't afford it. I'm not going down that route. I'm just saying it does feel a little bit like uh you haven't read the Bible, but are you at least familiar with the story where the 10 lepers come to Jesus and he heals them, and like 10 of them, and only one came back to say thank you for what you did? That's
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of what it feels
familiar.
like a little bit with what I'm doing. I'm over here like, you're welcome. Again, is it necessary? No, but it's just nice to
Right.
say thank you, even if you can't afford to toss a coin to your Witcher or whatever. I get it. I get it. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a yes and a no.
Yes. Yeah, it's right in the middle.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Sometimes, man, so I have like this imposter um uh whatever the fuck the word is. I can't freaking. Oh my god, I hate it when I can't say words that I know that I know.
Yeah.
But imposter syndrome. There we go. So I have this where like I don't call myself a podcaster and stuff like this, but like I have people reaching out to me and being like, "Hey man, you're doing a good job. I love the show and stuff like that." And it feels weird to me, you know what I mean? So like it's something that I wanted to do that I like doing. I love having these conversations no matter how weird it gets.
Hmm.
Whether it's conspiracy, cryptids, ghosts, frickin' spirituality. I love talking about mental health because that's a frickin' that is
People do
like when
not
you
know.
deal with when you deal with this stuff, you have these encounters, you have these experiences, or you're going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole like you are, like, you know,
Hmm.
like it fucks with your head like really bad. So I love getting into that with people. I've cried with a lot of people too on
Mm.
here, and that in itself is fulfilling to be there for somebody when I mean I wish sometimes like when they're crying and I'm looking at them on the screen and I'm crying, I'm like I just want to hug you, but I can't. Like I'm just, you know, um, but yeah, you know, for me, it is also fulfilling and not fulfilling just because I feel like I'm not doing good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. No,
So,
dude, and I've seen many clips that I've been following you for a while since I've been on Cryptid Warfare. Um,
oh yeah.
I truly do see this as a community because a lot of
Mm,
folks aren't getting things behind a pulpit, so sometimes it's the conversations I listen to. It just was like I'm not alone out there. If even if you're not in the room, there's
hmm
somebody else out there. I'm like, if I can travel and I had the money, I would come and like do a presentation or chit chat and talk, hug, talk with peeps, give maybe some suggestions. But if a lot of them are always expecting stuff with a DM, and I'm like, for me, I hate technology. I feel like that's so shallow, and also it's
yes.
time consuming. But it's also shallow because it's like I'm throwing a text your way. Can I call you? Can I? It is what it is.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Um, but if you don't mind, Brandon, letting the two people that listen to this show, let them know where they can find you and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Um, so if you like controversy and you're not going to get snippy with me in comment sections, Mana Daily Podcast on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and now just branching into BitChute. And then Krollology, like Kroll on the screen, you can see my name, ology, lore underscore 101. That's how you can find my Instagram. If I ever get nuked, it's Mana Daily Podcast. Again, I have a backup account, but that's if that ever happens. I'm sensing it will at some point.
I think it's happened to a lot of big creators at least once
Yeah,
that are into this stuff. So um,
yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. You know.
Everybody's like, "How are you still going?" I'm like, "Sometimes I don't know. You should see all my violations." They're like, "How come you don't monetize?" I'm like, "If you saw my list, you would be going, oh my."
That's funny. I got kicked off of Facebook for sharing a video of Pitbull talking about Event 201 on some podcast. And they kicked me off for 24 hours. It was my first violation ever. And I was like, how is like I don't know. I just saw this fucking video, thought it was interesting. I was like, hey guys, look at this. Like listen to this. You know,
Yes.
he's talking about something that's pretty interesting here. And Facebook's like, no, 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 you cannot be sharing that. You're banned for 24 hours. And I was like, what?
I think
What
that's the
the
thing.
fuck?
Some people, if you've never been banned, suspended, or violated in any violated any community standards in on Facebook or any platform, you probably have no idea what's going on in the world right now, or you're not controversial enough. I,
Yes.
I I got kicked off of TikTok and I'm still trying to figure it out. I said I didn't mention the Jays. I didn't mention like what did I? I don't even know. They never told me. I just got kicked off. I don't know what I did.
That's you know. Oh my God! This, real quick,
Yeah,
before I let you go, there was this. I got a message from Facebook like a week ago,
yeah,
saying that. So I shared a video last year of my intro music, trying to like entice people that might want to come on the show and talk about, encounters or conspiracies and all this stuff. And so it was like last week or so, Facebook said the creators of this music are getting ad revenue and you're only getting 20%. And there was 2 other creators that are getting money off of ad revenue for it. And I was like, this is music that I made. The only thing that I did was take like I used YouTube videos for like voices and stuff
Yeah.
like that from like my favorite movies and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
And I wrote to them. I protested. I was like, I wrote to them and I said, this is my music. I made this music. The only thing that I did was take voices from movie clips
Right.
and stuff like that. And I haven't heard back from them since. So
Yeah.
I feel like if it was accurately not my music, they would have gotten back to me really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody was saying that it was their music, or maybe it sounded like somebody's music, and Facebook was like, this sort of sounds like this song. And then it's weird too because they gave me timestamps too at 0.27 seconds. This person's music is there, and then from 49 seconds to a minute and 9 seconds, it was this person's, and I was like, no, it's all fucking. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Facebook's fucking weird.
Oh, they play games, dude.
Yeah, yeah. But all right, so everybody, that is today's show. I hope you go check out Brandon and all of his stuff. If you're into conspiracies, I would say definitely. If you listen to Tinfoil Hat like I do, definitely go check out his episode. It's a really good one. I enjoyed it. But anyways, that is the show, like I said. So if you like today's show and you like any of the other episodes, please like, follow, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Leave a rating and review. I would greatly appreciate it. Do the same for Brandon when you check out his. It helps us out a lot. And yeah, so if you can't leave a review on whatever catcher you're listening on, you can go leave a review on the website where the weird ones are podcast.com. You can also get some hot sauce and you can also get some merch. So go check that out. Other than that, everybody, question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky. When the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish.